And now, ladies and gentlemen, we will proceed with this afternoon's program. At this time, it is my privilege to introduce Mike Kelly, our chairman of the Johnson County Board of County Commissioners, who will deliver his 2023 State of the County address. Born and raised in Leawood, Mike Kelly has lived throughout Johnson County his entire life. He is the third publicly elected at-large chairman of the Board of County Commissioners under the county's Home Rule Charter, approved by voters in 2000. Before being elected chairman, Mr. Kelly served for 5 years as mayor of Roland Park. Chairman Kelly is a partner at Hush Blackwell, focusing on real estate, design, and construction litigation. In 2019, he was a co-founder and current board member of Climate Action KC, a regional leader implementing best practices for energy efficiency, reducing emissions, and natural conservation. He is an Eagle Scout, a fire builder in the tribe of Mickasay, and a Rockhurst High School graduate. Following his family tradition, Chairman Kelly attended Kansas State University, where he graduated with degrees in journalism and political science. He earned his law degree from the University of Kansas. His alma mater always wins at the KU K-State games. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in extending a warm welcome to our chairman of the Johnson County Commission, Mike Kelly.
Good afternoon, Johnson County. Thank you very much, Mr. Healy, for that kind introduction, and thanks to all of you for joining us today at the 2023 State of the County Address, my very first as your chairman. Got to acknowledge kind of a small world connection here. My grandmother, Betty Kelly, always used to tell her grandchildren, be careful what you do in this town. I'm going to find out about it. The town is very small in Johnson County. Mr. Healy, thank you very much for the kind introduction. We actually crossed paths back in the early 2000s through the Boy Scout Troop 395 at Curé of Ars. He was one of the scout leaders that helped me on my trail to Eagle. I appreciated his service to the community then, his naval service, and his continued service, this time as the chairman of the Olathe Chamber of Commerce. So thank you, Mr. Healy. I need to start off by thanking the Johnson County Public Policy Council for its support of today's luncheon. The various chambers of commerce throughout our county play a vital role in connecting and promoting our business community. They help ensure a healthy and robust economy that benefits us all. I understand that the Olathe Chamber is celebrating its 100th birthday this year. Congratulations to the Olathe Chamber. And congratulations to all the chambers that may be celebrating a milestone this year. Thank you all very much for the important work that you do. I want to acknowledge my fellow county commissioners who are present here today. I'd ask that you stand and be recognized when I call your name. First, my vice chair representing the 6th District, Shirley Allenbrand. From the 1st District, my commissioner, Becky Fast. From the 2nd District, Coach Jeff Myers. From the 3rd District, Commissioner Charlotte O'Hara, who was unable to be here with us today. From the 4th District, Overland Park's own, Janae Hanslick. And finally, our longest tenured commissioner now, Commissioner Michael Ashcraft from the 5th District. I would also like to recognize District Attorney Steve Howe, Chief Judge Charles Draghi, and Sheriff Calvin Hayden. Also present today, amongst many staff members, is the staff's fearless leader, our County Manager, Penny Post Oak Ferguson. I want to acknowledge my parents, Jim and Marilyn Kelly. Thank you both. And most importantly, I want to recognize my wife, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for your kindness and your patience on this journey. It's been a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot more fun, guys. And then there's me, the new guy. If you've ever attended this event before, you're used to seeing former Chairman Ed Eilert give this report. I know that I have big shoes to fill, and I'm grateful for the trust that the voters placed in me to build upon such a proud tradition of public service. Chairman Eilert was unable to be here with us today, but we want to recognize and thank him for his service to Johnson County. So, I'm your new chairman. New to this role, but not new to Johnson County. Born and raised in Leawood, I grew up checking out books at the Corinth Library, which celebrates its... What up, libraries? You're going to celebrate your 60th anniversary this year at Corinth Library. That's awesome. And I bowled and I skated at King Louie. I know we're supposed to call it the Arts and Heritage Center now. I'm working on it. I hung out at parks as a kid, and now I'm back chasing my own two kids, George and Jenny, around those same playgrounds and trails. Currently, the hotness is Meadowbrook. If you need me on Saturday, that'd be a good place to start your search. We each have different stories about how we came to Johnson County, whether we were born here, whether we came here for a career or for love. We all share a same appreciation for our corner of the world. It's why my wife and I chose to start our family in Roland Park, where I served for 5 years as mayor. We know that Johnson County is a great place to raise a family. It's a great place to run a business and a great place to retire comfortably. And that's not just something that we say, we have the data to back it up. Our resident surveys, starting back in 2005, make it pretty clear that Johnson County is one of the nation's premier counties. We just received the results of the 2023 annual community survey. 95% of residents are satisfied with Johnson County as a place to live. Thank you. These results and that kind of satisfaction didn't happen by accident, and our continued success is never guaranteed. I am confident, speaking on behalf of all of our elected officials and staff, when I say that your Johnson County government is here to position our county as the leader for the next generation of prosperity, innovation, and growth. Frankly, the state of our county is strong and uniquely poised moving forward to continue to grow stronger. You know, our community is defined by the values and the goals that we share. We're here to focus on the priorities that matter most and those that have the biggest impact on our residents, our businesses, and our cities. We will always work together to create economic opportunities by attracting and creating and retaining good-paying careers. We will focus on innovative infrastructure that responds to our current and future needs. We will prioritize mental and public health, protect public safety, value our children's futures and educations, and always be good stewards of the taxpayer dollars that are entrusted to us. In Johnson County, we are always moving forward. In 2023, Johnson County is in all ways moving forward. I'm excited to share with you some of those ways today, so let's get started. And in Johnson County, it starts with our economy. 1 in 4 Kansans work in Johnson County, and we continue to drive historic growth in our state and our region. In February, I was in DeSoto with Mayor Rick Walker as Governor Laura Kelly and Lieutenant Governor David Tolan accepted the Governor's Cup, which is awarded each year to the state with the most economic growth per capita. This is the second year in a row that that cup has come home to Kansas, thanks to the unprecedented investment we're seeing right here in Johnson County. Panasonic is the perfect example. Thanks to the collaboration of local and state governments, the Panasonic electric vehicle battery plant is being built in DeSoto as we speak. The project, involving a $4 billion investment from Panasonic, is expected to generate thousands of jobs. The future economic impact, estimated to be $2.5 billion annually, will ripple throughout our region. This project is the largest private sector development in Kansas history. Securing it required a bipartisan effort, and leaders from all levels of government came together to make this happen. It goes to show you that when we work together, we get good things done. In addition to Panasonic, we are moving forward with more economic development at the New Century Commerce Center to expand the revenue and jobs already generated from approximately 60 businesses and more than 5,000 jobs out at New Century. Years of planning and action by our board and by the Airport Commission of Johnson County have unlocked 850 acres of future development with an anticipated 9 million square feet of building space adjacent to the Air Center, adding to the already developed 5 million square feet of building space. Construction is underway on public infrastructure to serve development at the Commerce Center, and construction of 2 warehouses built on spec with Van Trust Real Estate are underway. And there's more to our story than just Panasonic, New Century Commerce Center, or other large businesses, warehouses, and manufacturing facilities. Johnson County is home to thousands of businesses, big and small, that create, that innovate, and that serve customers every single day. You might be surprised when you see the number of small businesses in Johnson County. Almost 93% of the county's business community is made up of private sector establishments with less than 50 employees. Small businesses really are the heart and soul of our economy. These businesses are strong because of their people. Everyone in this room is aware of the people challenge. The challenges our nation, our region, and our county is experiencing in employee recruitment and retention. Our chamber partners have identified several key components that are contributing to this workforce challenge, including a lack of childcare access and a lack of accessible housing for potential employees. Johnson County is not immune to this national problem, but the board has taken steps to help address it. In 2022, the county made 2 investments into affordable housing projects. The board approved 2 $1 million allocations for the construction of new housing complexes in Shawnee and in Gardner. By partnering with others to provide gap funding for these projects, the county is helping to ensure safe and more accessible housing options for those who need it. Parents of young children, like myself, realize that we simply do not have enough childcare options here in Johnson County. Many of us have experienced the challenge of putting our child on a waiting list and frankly crossing our fingers, knowing the importance of getting our child placed, especially when all the adults in the household work. That's why Johnson County allocated more than $2 million in state and local fiscal recovery funds to help encourage increased child care capacity, including funds to waive the Johnson County portion of child care center licensing fees. By tackling these issues head on and by welcoming new business growth, we will continue to see sustained economic development in Johnson County. And to do this right, we will need the infrastructure to support it. In anticipation of the increased growth in and around the Panasonic facility, Johnson County is partnering with the company to build a new fire station on the property of Astra Enterprise Park, where Panasonic is building its battery production facility. The county is also making significant road improvements to serve new commercial and residential development in and around DeSoto. K-10 improvements are already underway through a study being performed within the Ike Legacy Transportation Program. And for decades, as Overland Park is intimately familiar, US Highway 69 has been the most congested, bottlenecked four-lane highway in our state. In February, the Kansas Department of Transportation broke ground on the US 69 modernization project, which will make our roads, it will make our roads safer and make our county accessible for millions of drivers. But the county oversees an infrastructure portfolio that is so much more than just roads and bridges. Take water, for example. Modern water infrastructure is an important component of safe and healthy communities. Thanks, Water One. In 2022, we celebrated the completion of the Tomahawk Creek wastewater treatment facility in Leawood. On April 13th, this project will receive a prestigious capstone award from the Kansas City Business Journal. That project came in on time and on budget. When the ribbon was cut last spring, it was the biggest capital project in Johnson County history. But that claim will soon go to the Nelson wastewater treatment facility. This is Johnson County's oldest wastewater treatment facility, and its aging infrastructure requires massive improvements to meet the needs of the growing community in Northeast Johnson County. Notably, the facility will continue to treat all incoming wastewater flow throughout the duration of the project. Work is already underway and is scheduled to continue through 2029. We work with valued partners to plan, construct, and fund these projects, many of whom are here today, guided by our strategic integrated planning process that is data-driven, is measurable, and is fiscally responsible. These projects check off so many boxes: increasing the quality of water before it heads back to our waterways, saving millions of dollars, leveraging the latest technology and innovation, all while keeping our rates low. It's a lot to be proud of as we move forward in this crucial area of our community. Congratulations to Susan Pekarik and the wastewater team. Well, we talk about these infrastructure investments and we talk about economic development. So much of this is possible because Johnson County is such a desirable place to live. And one of the reasons that it's so desirable is because of our safe and healthy communities. In Johnson County, we value public health and safety, and we respect the officers, paramedics, firefighters, co-responders, deputies, and health officials who serve on the front lines every single day. We are moving forward with several investments and initiatives as we continue to make public health and safety a priority in Johnson County. Last fall, the board allocated $13.2 million to the Sheriff's Office, in addition to the $101.4 million already budgeted for 2023 to address staffing vacancies. The fiscal year 2023 budget includes increased funding for additional personnel at the Sheriff's Office, more 911 dispatchers, and a victim advocate within the District Attorney's Office. We continue to expand the mental health co-responder program, adding 9 co-responders embedded within city police departments throughout our county. With funding from a federal grant, planning is underway to develop a mental health court to help people with severe mental illness from returning to the criminal justice system. It's modeled after our very own Veteran Treatment Court, which has operated successfully in Johnson County for the last 7 years, providing specialized rehabilitation for our nation's veterans. These programs are providing more effective and efficient responses to incarceration as they reduce repeat offenses, ease the demand on public safety officers, and save taxpayer resources. As our population continues to grow and it expands throughout a wide county, our public safety services have to grow and expand with it. Construction is underway on 2 MEDAC facilities in Lenexa and Shawnee, and we look forward to better serving those communities. We all know that public health came into the spotlight thanks to COVID-19, but the Johnson County Public Health Department is much more than a pandemic response agency. Our public health team continues its critical service of providing access to care and vaccinations for thousands of residents, in addition to distributing COVID testing kits and booster shots. The board strongly recommends that Johnson County residents continue to be vaccinated against COVID-19 and continue to follow the recommendations of public health professionals. We are moving forward. Thank you. The Public Health Department is moving forward this year under the leadership of Interim Director Charlie Hunt. He assumed that position from Dr. Sanmi Ariola, who led our Public Health Department from March of 2020 until November of 2022. He arrived in Johnson County almost exactly when the pandemic did. He actually started his job a week early due to the pandemic. Dr. Ariola led us through the public health crisis with competence, with care, and with grace. We recognize his service, and we owe him a huge debt of gratitude for his efforts to keep our community healthy and safe. A key component to healthy communities and to economic success is environmental resiliency. Johnson County has taken major steps to prepare and position our community for the effects of a changing climate. This is good for our planet and for our pocketbooks. One of our primary focus areas is sustainable infrastructure. Over the course of a building's life, 80% of its costs come from operation and maintenance. We can lower these costs and thereby the burden on our taxpayers by making county buildings more energy efficient. Johnson County currently has 10 LEED certified county buildings, including 2 LEED Platinum certifications. Our focus on sustainable structures is one of several reasons that Johnson County was one of just 25 local governments in the world to receive a LEED Gold certification by the U.S. Green Building Council last year. Green construction is only part of our vision and efforts. We are creating a legacy for present and future generations, and we're being recognized for it. 3 county programs were recently named Resilience Success Stories by the Mid-America Regional Council and by Climate Action KC, a nonprofit that I was proud to found back in 2019. Let's take a look.
The Johnson County Stormwater Management Program has recently gone through a strategic planning process, which shifted our focus from addressing stormwater problems on a municipal basis to a watershed basis, thinking about, maybe I could do something in my city. If your project is down here, further down in the watershed, downstream in the watershed, and I did something upstream to retain some water, it might affect your project in a beneficial way. Doing practices that infiltrate the water, the stormwater, instead of sending it off down a pipe, down the stream, and infiltrating it locally with practices like a bioretention cell, which is native plants, or a rain garden that does it in a very similar way. One project that we participated in recently is to help increase the storage in these ponds at Meadowbrook Park, which is a Johnson County Parks and Rec park in the city of Prairie Village, and just upstream from the city of Overland Park. So by increasing the storage in these ponds, we're able to decrease flooding downstream, and that has helped take some homes out of the floodplain and also some streets out of the floodplain, which improves public safety.
Here at at the Tomahawk Creek Wastewater Treatment Facility. I'm going to explain a little bit about one of our new processes called the side stream treatment process. As part of the treatment process, we separate out the liquids from the solids. We take those solids and we run them through large centrifuges. And the centrifuges concentrate the solids at the center and spin the water out. That excess water is what we're treating in this side stream basin. Typically, that load, that side stream as we call it, was sent back to the main biological process where it had to be treated again with large amounts of oxygen from blowers. That use a significant amount of energy. Since this process only has very small blowers that are used just for mixing, for a gentle mixing, they don't use nearly the amount of energy as our main biological process does. So the horsepower for these is significantly lower, and we end up seeing a significant amount of energy savings.
Resilient urban forests are incredibly important to Johnson County and the entire Kansas City area. Removing invasive species is critical to make sure we have the next generation of trees in a forest. The park I'm currently standing in, Ernie Miller Nature Center, was the worst case scenario. We had a 116-acre park that was completely choked out by invasive species. You couldn't see 6 feet into this forest. From the edge, bush honeysuckle had overwhelmed the entire landscape. The entire forest had been choked out. To remove bush honeysuckle through this large-scale project where we removed over 400 acres of it, we had to create a bidding process that allowed us to hire conservation contractors that could come back year after year. And it's not just removing something like bush honeysuckle, it's coming back and looking for the seedlings of next year. Spot spraying, using fire on the landscape, and finding multiple ways to keep bush honeysuckle from ever thriving again is really the long-term point of this project. When we have these healthy parks that have a really nice balanced group of native plants, they have adapted to change over hundreds and thousands of years. And instead of having these plants that are kind of hogging all the resources, you have a really well-balanced network of plants and animals working together. And so when we're able to build resilient parks, it allows us to show the community the scale at which we can do this work and do hundreds and hundreds and thousands of acres.
So many wins for Johnson County. You call us the Dub Club. Johnson County is poised to lead on environmental improvements and to capture the economic benefits thereof from local companies like HDR and Black & Veatch that are pioneering and engineering the construction of clean energy facilities, to allowing landowners to install solar panels right here in Johnson County. The economic impacts of the green economy are significant for our residents and for our businesses. At the county level, I will continue leading the board to consider moving forward with several exciting initiatives and priorities this year. We need to carefully evaluate the opportunities through the bipartisan infrastructure law and the Inflation Reduction Act to modernize our buildings, to expand energy generation opportunities, and to protect our natural resources, all the while lowering emissions and saving taxpayer dollars. The data shows that climate change and the results thereof have an impact on us all, but they have a disproportionate impact on our county's most vulnerable residents. We are dedicated in Johnson County to helping ensure our most at-risk residents can live their best and healthiest lives right here in Johnson County. In the face of reckless spending cuts by past Kansas legislatures, funding for vital services across our state have been slashed over the years. While Governor Kelly's administration works hard to remedy that, Johnson County continues to do what the legislature hasn't in providing for our residents. Even before the outbreak of the pandemic, mental health issues were at a crisis level in Johnson County. In the past year, Johnson County Mental Health has implemented a variety of services and resources to support our residents. Johnson County mental health professionals now take local calls that come into the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline that is used to help those experiencing a mental health or substance abuse crisis. Last year, Johnson County fielded more than 44,000 calls. In 2022, the Mental Health Center was also named a Certified Community Behavioral Health Clinic. This certification requires that Johnson County Mental Health Center provide primary health care along with mental health services. In return, the state provides an enhanced rate for Medicaid clients that are served. These centers are leading a bold shift across the nation to increase access to high-quality mental health and addiction treatment, making a difference in the lives of thousands of individuals and communities. Thank you. Congratulations, Clint. Here in Kansas, one of only 10 states now where Medicaid has not been expanded, we are getting Medicaid dollars into the county in this new way. In other words, Johnson County is recouping funding that the legislature has given up, allowing us to provide more services to the people who need them. Fully expanding Medicaid would help even more. Supporting our aging population has long been a priority of Johnson County for many years. I have seen firsthand the importance of caring for our senior adults as well as their caregivers. My grandmother, Mary Bell Farnsworth, now a resident of Leawood, just celebrated her 100th birthday. And we had the party at King Louis too, which is great. She raised her family in Overland Park at 73rd and Outlook and lived in her home until she was 99 years old. Johnson County provides very important services that allow people like my grandmother to stay in their homes as long as they desire. And that's so important to the residents and to those family members who provide care, like my mother, Marilyn. To help us move forward on programs and services for our senior population, the Johnson County Aging and Human Services Department received more than $1.6 million in federal grant funding last year to assist our aging adults. From meals to caregiver support, disease prevention, and health promotion, the county has stepped up to provide the services that our older residents need. In addition, Johnson County has taken steps to significantly address the increasing problem of housing insecurity. We hired our first ever housing coordinator, Megan Foreman. Megan will continue to work with community partners such as the Friends of Johnson County Developmental Supports. These friends help those with intellectual and developmental disabilities access affordable and accessible housing. This group of friends now owns 22 properties to provide that service here in Johnson County. We understand in Johnson County that housing affordability remains a challenge for our community. It can be incredibly difficult to find an affordable home in the JoCo neighborhood in which you grew up. We need to do more in partnership with our business community and our community stakeholders to create more attainable housing across a spectrum of housing solutions. Our board authorized $2 million in federal relief funds for direct community investment into programs addressing housing and food insecurity last year. This is just one example of how Johnson County leveraged federal funds, in this case relief assistance, to strategically invest into our community. It's something I intend to build on, with increased utilization of federal funding opportunities to make sure Johnson County residents get the most benefits out of their tax dollars and bring more of them back right here to Johnson County. Thinking back to 2022, it was obviously a midterm election year. I am intimately familiar with that. In what was, and unfortunately remains, a harsh political climate. I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize the Johnson County Election Office. I am proud and grateful that our residents have easy and secure access to the ballot box in safe and fair elections. In 2022, the Elections Office administered the August primary and the November general election, in addition to manning a recount of more than 256,000 ballots in 5 days. Overall, that recount resulted in a difference of 0.0002% of the total number of ballots cast. Those recount results confirmed what we already know. Our elections are accurate and our democracy is strong. Thank you to our election commissioner and the more than 2,000 residents who stepped up to be election workers and successfully ran this year's elections and oversaw this democracy in action. Despite those who continue to perpetuate misinformation, it's because of you, our procedures, and our technology that we conduct safe, secure, efficient, and accurate elections, and we should all stand together and acknowledge that fact. As I was meeting residents all across the county last year, from county line to county line, I learned so many good things about what our county is doing. Too many to highlight here in just one speech, so our team put together a video to highlight a couple more for you. Let's take a look.
New beginnings, major achievements, and important milestones all kept Johnson County moving forward in 2022. At the Johnson County Library, a grand reopening showed the results of a major renovation at the Central Resource Library. Notable features include a new drive-through, expanded kids area, new media rooms, and new equipment in the makerspace.
So you have about a quarter-inch?
The Johnson County Park and Recreation District opened its newest park. Cedar Niles Park spans 957 acres in the western part of the county.
It's beautiful and get to see wild animals.
Meadowbrook Park still looks new, even though it's been open close to 4 years. But 2022 marked a new beginning with this public art project. It's called Gateway. It's the first of many more to come in the Park District's public art program. For the New Century Air Center, 2022 marked the successful continuation of a popular event loaded with thrills.
The near miss pass here at the Kansas City Air Show.
The Garmin KC Air Show entertained thousands of aviation enthusiasts over Labor Day weekend. November 11th marked more of a restart than a new beginning. Johnson County's Veterans Day observance returned in person for the first time in 3 years.
Her service was during World War II.
It was the county's 36th annual event, honoring those who served in the armed forces.
Protect them as they protect us.
Terry Mathis Center Memorial Garden.
The Terry Zenner Memorial Garden marked a rebirth in 2022. After Johnson County grounds crew workers restored it, the garden was rededicated to honor the memory of Terry Zenner, a social worker at the Mental Health Center.
Her spirit lives on and continues to inspire each of us.
2022 also marked the first year Johnson County government recognized Juneteenth as a holiday.
Know the past, and it changes the future.
The county held its first ever Juneteenth celebration. As for major achievements, the Johnson County Museum received national accreditation. It's the highest honor a museum can get.
Maybe we can make our way if the old house is still over there.
Only 3% of museums in the country have it.
Isn't this kitchen cute?
The museum also presented the highly acclaimed redlining exhibit. It attracted tens of thousands of visitors. The exhibit fueled so much interest in the topic, it was compiled into this book. On one sunny spring day, the major achievement for Paul Benson was opening this time capsule without damaging anything inside it.
Johnson County Herald.
He's a local conservator. The Johnson County Museum brought him in to help discover what's inside this copper box, found at the former courthouse. The contents date back to 1951.
There's an Olathe phone directory from 1950, facts about long-distance service.
As for milestone anniversaries in 2022, hundreds of people gathered to honor the 80th anniversary of the opening of the Olathe Naval Air Station. Other milestones allowed the people who provide vital services to reflect on decades of accomplishment. The Johnson County Mental Health Center celebrated its 60th anniversary. Johnson County Developmental Supports celebrated 50 years of service to adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. 2022 was a year to remember, honor, and celebrate as Johnson County continued to move forward.
Know the past and it can change the future. Powerful message. Speaking of milestones, one more milestone to mention. The city of Leawood turned 75 this year. Shout out to Mayor Dunn in the hometown. As we look forward to 2023, my first year in office, our year will be guided by the budget that was adopted last August. The 2023 budget was adopted by cutting mill levies in all 3 of the county's taxing districts for an overall nearly 1 mill reduction. It was the 5th mill levy reduction in the past 6 years. It's worth pointing out that the Johnson County taxing district is the lowest among all 105 counties in Kansas by a long shot. It's not even close. The next lowest is not even within 10 mills. The 2023 budget includes additional personnel to meet increased demands for public safety and places an emphasis on filling vacancies across the county to ensure we continue to meet the needs of our residents. These were important steps to address the challenge, but we must do more. We continue to work on addressing our workforce challenge this year and in future years. One thing I will always prioritize is our financial stability. The nation's top 3 bond rating agencies again reaffirmed our AAA bond ratings in 2022. The county has had this coveted triple in our general obligation bonds, as well as for the Public Building Commission for 16 years. It puts us in the top 2% of all counties in the nation and reflects our commitment to fiscal responsibility, prudent management, balanced budgets, and efficient services. In next year's budget, the first that I'll have a chance to vote upon, I hope will prioritize our people. Our value to this county is our people. We, as a county, are in the public service industry. We need our staff to have the bandwidth to keep up with the increased economic development and population growth in a rewarding work environment. And we need to make sure that we are a community that values and welcomes all of those who hope to start their own Johnson County journey, no matter where they come from, what they look like, who they love, or to whom they pray. This means recognizing the value in different lived experiences, cultures, and viewpoints, valuing those on our boards, valuing those in our art, and in our county celebrations. The author James Muir said that when we try to pick out anything by itself, we find it hitched to everything else in the universe. Johnson County thrives because of its place in a thriving metropolitan area, and vice versa. Therefore, we must take our opportunity to lead not just our county, but our region and our state moving forward. Growth begets growth, and success in one part of our metro does not inhibit the progress in another. We must look to each other as partners, not opponents. That includes making sure that we can connect across this region in whatever way we choose to commute. Regional transit, including a comprehensive EV charging network, must be a priority. Transportation networks need to meet our current and future needs. Outdated ways of thinking and underperforming practices must be reevaluated to meet the opportunities of the day. Being able to leverage the growth of our neighbors supports the continued economic growth for all of Johnson County, businesses big and small. We also recognize and know that a rising economy and increased demand leads to its own challenges. I understand the challenge that is faced by seniors on a fixed income, by teachers or paramedics who want to be able to live in the neighborhoods in which they serve. We must address the rising cost of housing and the property tax burden it puts on our residents. With so much to do, we also need to be mindful of how we choose to spend our time. Our commission is a nonpartisan board by design. While that doesn't mean that our members don't come without political beliefs, it means that we can set aside partisan rhetoric and gamesmanship and focus on those solutions that best serve Johnson County. This spirit of cooperation is something that we must model for others, one that could provide benefit to our legislators in Topeka, for we know that our Johnson County delegation can be a powerful force if they choose to work together and vote together in the best interests of our county, providing us with local control and protecting our public schools. Federal partnership is also important to our county's growth. I need to make sure that I thank Representative Sharice Davids for her work in support of the infrastructure bill, as well as Senator Jerry Moran for his continued support of several grant projects and appropriations that are priorities for Johnson County. Again, it goes to show you that when we work together, we can get good things done. Putting this partisan bickering aside and working together is why Johnson County has such a long history of success, 168 years, in fact. And as I said in the beginning of all of this, that didn't happen by accident, and it's not guaranteed. We all love Johnson County. I am so thankful to our thousands of employees who work hard every day to provide the public services that our residents need and expect. I need to especially thank Jody Hanson and the entire Public Information Office for making today such a success. Thank you. I also want to thank all of you, the thousands of volunteers who give their time and service in dozens of Johnson County departments or programs or chamber boards. We are so grateful to a community that truly cares about serving and helping others, men for others. As we move forward, in all ways, your Johnson County government will be focused on the everyday issues and priorities that matter most to our residents. Johnson County is in the northeast corner of our state, but we're at the center of its economy. And now, we're in the center of the conversation too. We will continue to work with officials at all levels of government, with our business community, with our schools, our healthcare providers, our public safety officers, and most importantly, our residents. Dwight Eisenhower said that whatever America hopes to come to pass for the world must first come to pass in the heart of America. The heart of America is Johnson County, and Johnson County is always moving forward. Together, Johnson County will continue, in all ways, moving forward as we lead the next generation of prosperity, innovation, and growth. I'm ready for it. Are you guys ready for it? Let's go, JoCo. Thank you all very much.
Chairman Kelly, we appreciate your public service and the leadership you are providing in building a strong community in Johnson County. Thank you for sharing with us your 2023 State of the County Address. We welcome your leadership as chairman in the future of Johnson County. Please help me acknowledge another dignitary who is in attendance with us here today, Secretary of State Scott Schwab.